Hello Libra, this is Ron, clairvoyant from Tarot of the Twin Sun. We'll be doing your July reading 2019. I am working today with y'all for a reading on love and the mysteries of supreme love and cosmic love and how these all relate to significant others that you are either meeting or will meet or potentially have met. Working with the Aleister Crowley deck, 1986, my beautiful deck, with a load of German symbols on them. Very interesting. So I did pre-shuffle a bit. I will shuffle more for you all to figure out, according to your house complexion, 1, 5, 7, 9, first, 5th, 7th, and 9th houses, how the configuration of the stars are informing your love life for this month. And that's July 2019, reading for Libra, love. Two of Cups. Princess of Wands, interesting, she's coming up there. And she's dealing with fire sign. Leo, potentially, interesting. She's showing up again. And we have the High Priestess, Scorpio, in potential cahoots with y'all. Cahoots. Alright, this is ready. Right about there. So, the 1, 5, 7, 9. That's right. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, Libra. There's something pertaining to your first house that is physically representing, when people see you on the street, a type of sadness that comes from the cup that overfloweth. It comes from a deep and cosmic sadness that has to do with essentially your upbringing more than anything. Upbringing and your social circumstances that come from deep-seated and rooted past hurt, karmic hurt. The 7 of Cups, that's what I see mostly. A load of despair coming from your relationships with others, but also relationships with past life others that may have been unrequited or ended on bad terms or were extremely tragic in some way, shape, or form. So the way that you come across to others, the way you tend to make first impressions right now in the month of July is one of a striking sadness. Perhaps people see how vulnerable you are in terms of your emotions and your emotional content. Yes, they're worn on your sleeve. You also have a bit of potentially, for some of you Libras, a bit of a jaded mentality with the way you are presented with choices, but are not intimidated, but sort of overwhelmed with the options you have. There are many options. This is also indicative of Scorpio energy plus, all the water signs, Pisces and Cancer. And if anything, you seem to embody yourself in a cloak of sadness when it comes to your choices. There are too many of them, and Libra, you have difficulty making these choices in a cardinal way. I mean, there's 3 decanades of Libra, 3, and the first decanade certainly is more assertive. The 2 other decanades are a bit more passive and are more indecisive in a way. So decanades are divisions of 10 degrees within 30 degrees, and according to when you were born in the about 30 days, 30 days of Libra. The first 10 days seem to be more decisive, and the remainder depends on sort of the rulership of the planet that's connoting with, tend to be more indecisive. So what I want to say is that the options are too many and too great, and there is something from your past. This is like either in your bloodline, you're genetically sort of stored in your DNA, or through ancestry, through history, or through beyond time, in which, if you believe in past lives, there was certainly quite a bit of your network, the seven, and how that has essentially cast a great shadow of indecision within your choices for your love life. Now, because of such, you might be attracting other people who have shared melancholia in this respect. You might be calling in people who need healing, who are like yourself, who also need healing. And there may be relationships on a love level, perhaps even sexual level, based on first impressions, a gravitas that draws you to people for healing through many different forms. There's many different types of healing. What kind of types can you ask? I mean, you could say that healing comes through the form of touch, from person to person. It can be in a form of a type of Reiki or energy exchange through touch. It can be healing in the form of expression through sensuality, like the medium of air, where we have a conversation and airwaves are pushed towards your eardrums and create electrical impulses in your brain to essentially have healing done on a psychological level. There is also the auric field, where subtle bodies interact, and just being in the sort of near vicinity of someone or meeting someone like a soulmate will open your heart chakra and create the sacred fire within, and have it burn out seeds of negativity, seeds of these deep ingrained seeds of karmic sort of debt that you need to pay back. And that is also a possibility. There's also the act of fornication and sexual sort of expression, in which there may be a chance through other people to meet with a deeper sort of connection, a deeper sort of connection based in the 3D, that through the act of sex and through the act of ecstasy can release sort of this heavy burden on your first house. Okay, first house is all about yourself, yes, but self that is unnoticed, that is not involving ego. Self is also like, the way I see first house is excuse me, the self that is around you, your aura, and like how this aura is either restricted or is expansive in a way. And we're dealing with light work here, okay? So, like I said, you will be attracting people who have potentially a lot of water in their chart. I'm seeing a lot of Scorpio, potentially Pisces, and these people are deep, deep people, okay? And you might have a number of those placements within your astrological complexion, but they're somehow making an aspect to your first house, potentially conjunctions or squares or trines, what have you. Now let's move on to the seventh house. So I was doing 1, 5, 7, 9. Seventh house is interesting, okay? Seventh house, you have the Ace of Staves, which is a fantastic way of saying that there are a lot of people within your immediate environment and within your networks that have the hots for you, that want to start new passions with you. This also points and indicates an affinity towards fire-like people, okay? We're talking Aries, we're talking Leo, we're talking Sagittarius. These are the great manifestors of the zodiac. Yes, air is also a manifestor, earth as well. Water, yes, as well. But fire is the great fire of, destruction as well as creation at the same time. It's the ultimate force of primeval man. This is our first invention, fire. And because it's in your seventh house, essentially there will be a lot of passion in the air in the month of July. Passion in terms of lust, in terms of carnal desire, in terms of even higher vibrations, passion in the zest for life and the lust and the burning for life and the way to express that in a sacred way. Interesting. I do not see a connection to the first house yet, so let's go ahead and pull a card for that. Make a bridge. Okay, that one definitely needs to jump. Okay, interesting. This passion that we're talking about, this passion, the passion of the supreme, the passion of carnal sort of drive that's happening in your seventh house, that is the house of networks and friends and, connections, will take the form of minor exchanges in the form of the Knight of Swords, okay? What I see here is a possibility for the exchange of mental rapport, the exchange of small mental notes, perhaps text messages. It comes in the form of that as well, that start off on the relation of passions through an intellectual sphere. That is, through small messages that have to do with just sort of the light way of approaching anything you want to communicate. But there will be communication, and it will be dealing with the shared melancholia of the self, okay, of the subtle body, of self-representation, of anything existentialist will come out, and people will have strong opinions about that if you are intellectual. There's also a possibility for lighthearted ways of starting fire and starting passionate relationships with others, at least on a friendly level, okay? That is the seventh house, more friendly as opposed to romantic. Now let's move on to the fifth house. Fifth house is looking really quite good for you, Libra. We have the universe here, which is essentially kind of like the world card in normal tarot decks. But the universe here takes a spin. And that's why I love the Crowley deck, because it has an extremely expansive quality. It deals here with the divine feminine, yes, like the Rider-Waite. And she's inside some sort of portal, right? A portal, a gateway. And it's blue, it's expansive, it's indicative of the sacred flame. There's also this kundalini-like energy here that she's playing with, so you can think of this as Shakti in Vedic tradition, Hindu mythology, and the third eye here that's sort of beaming down and like pushing the energy down through the chakra system. We also have the great elements here, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the corners. And they're just giving you enough oomph for sacred connection, romantic sacred connection. Very interesting. And what I mean about romantic sacred connection, I'm talking about connections that are not reliant on time and space. They are not reliant on the structures and the ways and means of regular relationships. They don't require any labels, like having a girlfriend or boyfriend or friends with benefits, or being a wife or a husband or fiance. These are all structures that do not require this kind of force, okay? And that's a good thing. It's a timeless relationship that you're sort of gearing towards, a commitment that is based on pure devotion, that requires no strings attached, that is incredibly expansive and limitless. The universe is good to have. At the same time, it indicates the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new, or rather, the cyclical nature of the universe. In that, like time, is not linear, it is more round. And therefore, it rotates and it creates revolution, right? This is the card of revolution. Therefore, it being in your fifth house indicates that your creativity will be boosted this month. that there will be an incredible amount of potential romantic flames that don't even need romance. These deep, profound connections um, will take shape and expand exponentially beyond time and space. And there will be awakening of Kundalini energy potentially on the cards, and there will be a celebration of the divine feminine to go ahead and enact this connection with somebody else. Okay. This also points to children in some tarot decks. I'm not gonna go there, but conception generally, yes, definitely. I see a lot of manifestation this month, especially through your fifth and seventh houses. This is also the house of creativity, so you could be creating some cosmic work here. I'm talking work that doesn't require any labels or any trends. It is something that is beyond time and space and can be represented in any way, shape, or form. And that shape or form can be, well, essentially extremely expansive in a way. I feel a lot of Jupiter in this as well. Jupiter in this card in particular. Um, yeah. So, in relation to your first house, basically the way people see you, the way you self represent, your aura, and your fifth house, I see a sort of synthesis with the 10 of Pentacles. Essentially, I see wealth, I see abundance on a grand level, also potentially the end of a cycle in terms of manifestation on the 3D. Therefore, there is a way to ground yourself through your art to share the great sorrows of the universe. Okay, so what I mean is that with your first house and your fifth house making aspects, there is a possibility for transcending the melancholia of the universe, the great pain of conception. You know, we were crying since babies, and then we die. You know, not to be so negative, but I mean, if you're Buddhist, essentially, there is a load of suffering that must be endured. And there are ways to detach from this suffering and say, this is not me, like the great Buddha, you know? And to realize that these are all merely cycles. This suffering is a cycle that we can step out of if we so choose. And how? By reaching a completion on the material plane, okay? I would recommend, and this is from Libra to Libra, manifesting works of art or taking all this energy from the first house, this pain that is embodied psychosomatically into yourself, and take that color of your aura and create works of art, create in any way possible. You are manifesting in a way not like the magician, but more like some sort of cosmic warrior right now. And you're creating new territories with the Ten of Pentacles that seem to have infinite potential in terms of claiming your ground and becoming grounded in your sense of self. Yeah. I'm not saying that with the first house that... Okay, Libra. Back to it. Sorry about that. I had a small snafu with the system. Yeah, so back to the first house and how people perceive you, how you come across, essentially sort of mired in the great sort of duplicity of the universe, its multiplicity, its ability to be multi-leveled and having many different layers and structures that you're having difficulty to reconcile. It's hard for you to find a sense of self in this sort of mire. You're trying to constantly balance, as the Libra does, many various things. And like I said, I think it's good to try to ground yourself, set certain goals and certain desires within the material world, and work with works of art, as well as work with your networks to create a sense of passion and through communication. come up with a way of self-representation that is according to your true aura, and like letting that shine properly. There may be physical ailments with your body that is tied to this great cosmic pain that you're trying to reconcile with, and we'll go ahead and figure out right now how to go about and cure that. So card advice for getting more healthy on a spiritual level for Libra, please. Please, please, please. All right, that one jumped. Ah, yes. So, like I said, um, because of the seven of cups on your house of self, the first house, what you must do is look within to find your own divinity. The Ace of Cups is always about cosmic and sacred sort of energy that is based on your essence, on the essence that makes you not only human but more like a god. And there is a potential that you must look within, as well as look to the way you're creating romantic relationships, flirting with the world, flirting with creation, flirting with different types of art or media that you're working with, will help you find and reestablish a sense of self-love. Okay, this is the Ace of Cups. Very good reading so far. You essentially have the Ace of Cups as well as the Ace of Rods, which is fantastic. We have both the creation power of thank you, of the universe with the Ace of Staves. It's fantastic. You do a quick shuffle, and we'll find out how this connects to. Oh yeah, jumper. How this connects to your ninth house. Now, the ninth house is all about philosophy, higher education, communications, telecommunications, as well as this is the house of gurus. This is the house of expansion. Okay, and the interesting thing is that here, when it comes to your relationships, there may be a Taurus or a Capricorn, perhaps Virgo, but I'm thinking very much Taurus energy here, with someone who's trying to teach you something in terms of your higher philosophy. They are officiators, these people, the high priest, and they are the gatekeepers for higher wisdom and knowledge, the ancient knowledge that comes from lineage, that comes from great schools of thought. Okay, because the high priest is here. There is someone you may meet abroad. This is ninth house, a foreigner that is essentially holding the keys to some type of relationship for you. Fairly interesting. If this is still a relationship reading, it's slowly shifted more towards a self-liberation reading with the Ace and the Ace in your first house. However, what I'm also seeing is that there's an indication with your first house, a possibility for you to be going through the dark night of the soul. And there's a connection with your ninth house and your fifth house, causing a great source of pain for you, intellectual pain. This is the kind of pain that doesn't let you sleep at night. This is the kind of pain that wakes you up in the middle of some sort of dream sequence, and you are, I'm seeing a lot of poor sleep. Ninth house is also dreams, as well as the fifth house, dreams. And the link that's here are dreams that are essentially very taxing on your brain, and the way your brain projects the astral body through the ether. And there's a potential for, yes, bad dreams, but also bad communications. If there's someone that you've been contacting on a psychic plane during your astral projections and going through the ether, there may be a great deal of intellectual or philosophical conflict, as well as a lack of co-creation in terms of that. I would be careful with those psychic ties, and I would also encourage you to ground yourself once again in order to envision a type of end goal in terms of a relationship. It seems to me that there is more of a relationship between your first house and your fifth house. Therefore, there is a reinforcement of self and a sort of negation of the earth energy that's coming through the form of a person through the astral dimension. Okay. Um, Also, there is a fire sign that is very much attracted to the way your first impression was. And they're sending you messages of relation. Okay? Now, I'll pull two more cards. First card will be, okay, three more cards. Fantastic. Uh, yeah, we have here the Nine of Pentacles crossing the 7th and ninth houses. This is an indication that there might be someone who is embodying the same energy that's creating passion in your 7th house as well as in your ninth house. Therefore, they may be the same person. There's a lot of earth energy. They might have complexion of some sort of fire in their Venus, perhaps, that is creating on a sort of communal level a source of inspiration as well as a temptation for commitment that I'm not sure if you want to take it or not, Libra, because I think you might consider this person more as a friend. Okay, interesting. Okay, two cards. Magician in reverse, and your card, Libra, with the scales and judgment. Okay, now let's go through this complexion. Okay, so the Magician in reverse indicates more of, I would say, a Virgo type energy. I'm talking about manifesting from the ground up into the ether. Okay, so if you think of it this way, this is more like Kundalini energy. We're currently in Gemini season, and you might feel out of flux with Gemini season. However, there is a grounding effect happening here, and you have to recognize that it's not all about taking things you learn in the 3D, being analytical about it, and then projecting it out into the ether as you know something. It would be helpful for you to rebalance all of that energy with your natural affinity, that is creating balance between the two. So reconciling with Virgo and Geminis are a huge possibility in terms of relationships, whether they be friends or whatnot. However, in love, I would say there is less flirtatiousness. You're over the phase of the duplicity of Gemini, okay, and more geared towards manifesting strong commitment, which is more like Virgo's sort of suit. Okay, and the Two of Rods is your sort of underscoring energy here. Two of Rods is indicative of a passway or a crossroads, and therefore you are close to making a huge journey of sorts, and choosing one passion over the other through your 7th house. There is a network here that is inspiring you, but you have to make a choice, Libra, in order to establish a step away from the dark night energy and choose a cup, and that cup should be self-representing your self-love for yourself. That is a supreme love that is very cosmic. Okay, Libra, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.